Welcome to Offbeat, the light side of law enforcement, part of the Treehouse Podcast Network. I'm your host, retired police officer Steve Rutherford. Your co-host for today, Detective Curtis Hadley, the Fort Worth Police Department.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Welcome back, Curtis. And we've got two guests in studio today, both from the Fort Worth Police Department. We've got David Jwanowski.
Yes, sir.
And we've also got Matt Putnam.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, guys. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Doing great.
Now, Curtis, we established, because you're returning, you are actually in episode 1 and 2.
Yes, it was an accident.
Yes, and that accident went so well for you that now you're one of our rotating co-hosts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, welcome to the
told
show.
me before I got here, but cool.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Curtis.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Like to the administrative team of the show. So, we established that you could see. Do you have anything to start us off with today?
You'd asked me before, but I think we can stick with the patriotic theme. I'll do America the Beautiful. How's that sound?
Hey, that sounds great. Go for it, man.
Here we go. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Amen.
Wow, man. Hey, never cease to amaze me. The singing cop. Yeah, you are really good at that, Curtis. So
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that. All right, guys. Let me see. Detective David Jwanowski, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're not the only Jwanowski at Fort Worth. Is that
Nope.
correct?
That'll be the third one on the department.
Wow, that's kind of a family deal, huh?
Yeah, so far. So
Great.
far, so good.
Well, David, what do you do for Fort Worth?
Right now, I'm a detective I'm just about to start the Auto Theft Task Force there in Fort Worth.
Very nice. And how long have you been with Fort Worth?
It's coming up on 12 years now.
Excellent. You've had the opportunity to do several different things there at the department?
Yeah, I was in patrol for 5 years. Spent a little bit of time with the SRT when it was still that, and I did almost 7 years with the criminal tracking unit. That's where my partner here, Putnam, and I were really good at what we did, and hung out there, got a lot of stuff done there, and then he moved on to bigger and better things, and took me a little bit, but I finally got up there and moved on to.
You just act like I abandoned you.
You did. It hurt.
He did say you moved on to bigger and better things, and that insinuates that you left him wherever he was at, and yeah.
I can only tolerate so much of them.
I mean, he did it for almost 7 years.
We might need to have him back with Emily so we can have a session.
Yes.
It would account for her hours.
Yes, going back to episode 3, featuring Emily Thompson, former officer for the Dallas Area Rapid Transit. She is now a therapist, and yes, we need to bring Emily in here to work on these two.
Yeah, that might help. I can see a lot of pent-up aggression just in their eyes.
No, that's just love.
Well, that's the same thing.
Whoa, what kind of partners are we talking here, guys?
Go with what you feel.
It was
There's been a lot of feeling.
You've lost that love and feeling.
And this is why I moved on.
Wow, to bigger and better things.
One of the many reasons.
Matt, what do you do for Fort Worth?
So right now I work on a operations and surveillance team, also known as the Intel team. Been on for about 16 years. I did patrol work, SRT work, criminal tracking unit with Dave here. Once I got tired of him, is when I moved over to the Intel team.
Outstanding. And see, you guys have a lot of different options there in Fort Worth with such a big agency. You guys have a lot of good opportunities. Man, that's neat stuff. So, David, what kind of stories have you accumulated over your years there, your tenure at Fort Worth?
There's been a few. One of them was actually with Hadley over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You remember this one where we were responding to a carjacking?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. You were training one of the rookies. I can't remember who it was, but y'all happened to be the closest ones. Y'all got there pretty quick. And I was a little bit farther off, so I think I was the second or third responding officer there. And I recall as soon as I was pulling up, you and your rookie were pretty much yanking that dude out of the car,
Yep.
taking him into custody. And the funny part of it was not until a couple of months afterwards when the DA had called us all in for a meeting.
That was.
And they were asking us questions about how everything was going, and like, hey, Officer Jwanowski, can you tell us about your dash cam? Like, yeah, it was on. It's like, yeah, but why was there a soundtrack to it? I'm like, what are you talking about? So they play the video, and it's me pulling up in the car, and we'd just gotten the Tauruses at the time. We thought they were shit hot, but it turned out not to be. But they had the radios in them still.
They had music radios.
So I pull up, and you see us getting out of the car, and you're yanking this dude out, and we're having to struggle with him and fight him because he's not giving up. And in the video, it's got a soundtrack of "Shut Up and Dance" while we're trying to take this dude in custody, and you're rocking with the beat just on top of him.
I did. I remember she pulled it out and she plays it, and it literally, as I'm grabbing his shoulder blades and I'm yanking him out, he falls to the ground. I go on top of him, and it literally is like, "Shut up and dance with me." And I mean, I'm just, taking care of business. But she also reiterated that when she was going through the video, she said that she told her husband, she goes, "Hey, I'm going to go in the study and I'm going to watch the videos and get prepared for court." And she said her husband heard that song. And so he opens the door. He goes, "I thought you were studying for the case." And he goes, "I am. This is actually a soundtrack to one of the vehicles that was playing." But he, like I said, he got like 35 years for that. So I was pretty happy with it. But they also said, "We don't want to play that in front of the jury. Let's just, if they ask for it, we'll let them have it." So
We'll try to hold off, but that's some key evidence right there. He got yanked right out of that car.
He did.
Don't worry about that soundtrack though.
And you couldn't have planned that.
no, there's no way. I mean, anything in police work, you can never plan it, or the story, when it comes out and it's so outlandish, somebody outside the department or outside of our professions, like, because we have a saying, you can't make it up. And it is 100%. You cannot make anything up because you're reading a report or you're on a call and you're like, this is something out of a Stephen King movie or a book. You're like, this is perfectly set up. It's the perfect storm or whatever. And you can't do it. So,
Or Super Troopers.
that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so many stories in law enforcement, you can't make it up. They
No.
just, they make themselves. So, Matt,
Yes, sir.
you told me earlier about riding partner with somebody and y'all headed off to lunch.
Yeah, well, that's what I was told. We're riding together with my partner, and he said, "Hey, you getting hungry?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "All right, we're going to go to my apartment. We'll pick up lunch and eat over there," which I thought was weird because we never did that before. But what was interesting was he took a phone call right before he did that, and he didn't sound too happy on the phone. So I already thought something weird was going on. So as we're pulling into this apartment complex, he parks a patrol car, and I look up at his apartment on the second story, and I see a bunch of clothes flying over. I was like, "Oh, someone's in there."
Somebody's getting kicked out.
And I said, "That's your girlfriend up there?" He said, "Yep." And I think like maybe a kitchen chair or something came next over the balcony, but nonetheless, objects were coming over the balcony, and I decided to just sit in the car on this one. I told him I didn't really feel like lunch anymore, and he was going to have to handle this one on his own. So he goes up there and works everything out. Everything was fine. He comes back, and I asked him, I said, "So are you single?" He said, "Yep."
I am now.
And
Apparently
I
she's
told
moving.
him, I looked at my watch, and I was like, "We still got like 20 minutes, so I'm kind of hungry." We drive off to go eat, and on our way, I couldn't help but ask. I said, "All right, I got to know what caused this to happen." And he said that he was having a party that night, and he invited his ex-girlfriend over to meet his current girlfriend at this party, which apparently didn't turn out well. his new girlfriend had no idea the ex was showing up. So he thought it was going to be okay. And my exact remarks to him were, what did you think was going to happen?
Okay, in what perfect world was this going to work out?
I don't know about you, but I mean, I think we can all agree that wasn't going to work out the way he thought it was.
No, only in Fantasyland will that work out.
Even then, it's a far stretch.
It is.
You kind of got to give it to him for at least.
Give him.
I mean,
I'll give him
Absolutely, give him props for trying. None of us had the balls to try it.
Well, we were smart enough not to try it.
He was a pioneer.
Yeah, well, maybe we can use this as the opportunity here in this show to try to help our fellow brothers and sisters out. Don't do that, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. If you've got a success story in regards to that, then hey, shoot us an email, offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. We would like to hear how you pulled that one off, because in general, it's a good way to get yourself hurt. So, any of you guys ever have an ex you brought in to meet the current one?
I'm still in the first one.
Oh no!
Good for you, man.
Yes.
Good for you. Raise your hand if you can say that yourself.
I'm still on my first one.
Yeah.
Wow, guys. Okay, well,
You got those shifty guys.
Oh, wait, let's just. It might be easier. Raise your hand if you can't say that. Okay, there we go. It's easier. But I like your current one way better. I never met the other one, but
I like her way better too. That's why she's the current one.
luckily you can't see off camera she's holding a gun.
Yeah, I got to leave that there.
Yeah, let's just drop it. It went dark. That was like the Oregon Trail, man. Somebody's getting dysentery, guys. Okay.
That was way out there, man.
Hey, but you know what? I guarantee you all of us got that reference.
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old.
Absolutely.
But I know what
Yes,
you're talking about,
absolutely.
so I'm right there with
Control. We got it. Oh, dysentery. We're good.
Yeah, come to find out, David, you and Curtis were partners at one point.
Yes, actually, what was it, episode 1 when I told the farting story? Jwanowski was my partner in crime at that time.
you. Yep.
So
I remember that when I was trying to hold off.
He can attest that me and dairy products don't get along. Nope. There was a few times when we would be riding in the car and I'd just be minding my own business. All of a sudden he'd look over at me and go, "You son of a bitch," because I wouldn't roll the window down or anything. So there was plenty of times he caught a nose full of it. And so yeah,
I'd try to hold off and ignore it as long as I could, and I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. But every now and then, it was just like,
yeah, it was pretty bad.
all right, you know what? We're going out in the field with the buffaloes, so you can dump that whatever you had. Okay, you're done. All right. We have health insurance. Just go.
Yeah,
Curtis.
Hey, man.
Did you ever lock the window so he couldn't roll it down?
No, I never thought of that.
Oh, I think there's at least one or two times like
I think
I'll jump out this moving car. I don't care if we're going 50.
I think there was a few times I did it and I would just step out the car and was like come back and it'd be like, yeah, I know what you did there. But no, we had a lot of really good times in patrol, me and Jwanowski.
Very much
he actually pranked me pretty good the very first day we ever met. I moved from one side of town to the other just for random reasons, and so I got there and it was like a really bad rainstorm or snowstorm, and so I walk in. The sergeant never met. He goes, "Hey guys, everybody doubles up tonight. We don't need anybody getting hurt, so find somebody to double up with." Of course, I'm looking around the room and I don't know anybody, not a single person. So Jwanowski's like, "Hey man, I got you, bro. This other guy over here, he's not here right now. He's at court, but when he comes back, he's gonna need a partner. I'm not even gonna say his name." And so he gets there. I get in the car with him, and it took about 8 minutes, and I realized why no one rides with this guy. He couldn't stop talking. I mean, he was a good dude, but when it was all said and done, he was the one guy no one wanted to ride with. But yet, Jwanowski was nice enough to break the ice with me. It's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and ride with let's just say his name's Randy, and you'll have good times." And I rode him for a while, but after that, I mean, it kind of solidified. I'm like, oh, we're playing the long game here. I mean, you don't even know me for 5 seconds, and you're already fucking me over. So, anyways, that was my story for him.
Listen, you said you had to break the ice. There was a lot of ice to break that time, so you trudged through it.
I did.
For several years. So I mean, you're welcome. If anything, all right, builds character.
Maybe I should. I apologize. I'll get a card out to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Nice. Hey, and you guys also talked about when you were partners that you picked up a couple of folks out there flying some signs?
Yeah, so City of Fort Worth had a thing where, we call it flying signs or flying flag, whatever. It's when the homeless people will have a sign, they hold it here as I'm an Army vet or whatever they want to say, I need money.
Aggressive panhandling.
Yeah, aggressive panhandling. So at any point in time, we were told cash bond them all, just pick them up. So we're driving, and was I driving? I want to say.
Well, we were in the Tahoe, so you were driving.
Yeah, so I was driving, and so we stopped. And we picked up this one lady, and I can't remember her name, but we always knew who she was because she only had one arm. And so if you've ever had to cuff somebody with one arm, to cuff one hand. You pull it all the way back as far as you can. You do it to a belt loop. So we cuffed her up, throw her in the back seat. Jwanowski's already starting paperwork, man. What's your name? Date of birth? He's just topping away. So as I'm driving, we get probably about a mile or two up the road, and all of a sudden, Jwanowski, like a bird dog, there's another one right there. So I was like, okay. I pull over. I didn't even have time to open the door.
You barely got it in park.
Yeah, and he's already out stuffing the dude in the back seat. He's already cuffed this dude, thrown in the back seat.
Look, I've already dealt with that dude the 2 days before that week, and I told him, stop panhandling or we're going to get you.
You did.
And sure enough, I got out, hooked him up, and he's like, what's going on? Like, you already know what the deal is.
Yeah.
Stuffed him in the back, and the light hadn't even changed
No,
by the time we pulled up to a red light, got out, got him in, light changed, and we were already on the road.
Absolutely.
That was that quick.
So then he starts the whole spiel again. Hey, what's your name, date of birth? Which he already knew the guy, but we always ask, especially for his camera. So he goes, in the back we hear, and I don't remember the name, so we're going to go with like Mary and John. And so all of a sudden in the back we hear, hello, Mary, how are you? Hello, John, how you been? It's like, Jwanowski's like, do you two know each other? And so the guy goes, well, I hope so. I lived with her for 14 years. I'm like, y'all used to live in the same house? Well, we were married. It's like, how in the odds did we pick up two people 4 or 5 miles apart from each other, both panhandling, and they're in a domestic partnership at one point in time? And not to mention, she only had one arm. So
Why do you think they were divorced?
There you go. I wonder if he got the arm in the divorce.
Maybe. I'm gonna say it didn't.
I never thought of that just till now. He's like, listen to me, this is going to cost you an arm and a leg, but I'll settle for an arm. Okay? That's what I'm going to go with on this one.
That may have been his leg that she got. I don't know.
Yes,
the divorce didn't go well because they're both panhandling. They didn't have a lot to split.
Yeah, that was a very expensive lawyer.
Oh, boy, I tell you.
It's like, we don't want your firstborn. I'll just take an arm.
You get her arm and his leg.
The lawyer actually got the arm.
Oh.
Yeah, he got all digits. Sorry. But no, stuff like that in patrol happened all the time. Like, again, you cannot make this stuff up. He's like, how do you pick up two people, which we thought were random strangers, and just happened to be people that were in a domestic partnership for 15 years? So, but obviously, I mean, lawyers do cost a lot because after that, you got to panhandle.
Yeah, apparently, both of them. It was a hard settlement.
Sorry. You can't even put words together. No. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm just saying, you know how expensive attorneys are, or wait, you guys are still.
No, we're still first.
You're still on your first one.
I hear they're worth
it. Yeah, it's not a cheap process, but it's funny because you think, okay, well, he got the arm. This deal. Well, an attorney costs you an arm and a leg, so maybe they worked out something. He went ahead and handed the arm off to the attorney.
Absolutely.
So we were.
Will you pay this as a deposit?
Down payment.
Would that be a retainer?
It might be.
That would be a retainer.
It has to be at this point.
He retained the arm.
Well, she had to sign a lot of paperwork, so had to leave that behind her.
Well, that way he could just go ahead and sign it for her.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Auto sign.
That was before auto sign, but he made it work.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Good times in patrol, huh, guys?
Man, I miss it.
I miss parts of it.
Aspects. Yeah, you definitely miss aspects of patrol. You don't miss the actual job itself.
Yeah, you don't miss the hot summer days or the cold winter nights or the rain.
Especially those first icy nights.
Listen, we're about to take a break. But if you have not been to our website, offbeatcopshow.com, again, that's offbeatcopshow.com. If you've not been to the website, go take a look at it. Sign up for our emails. Subscribe for our emails on there. And also, make sure that if you're a first responder and you have a story that you would like to come on the show and share with our listeners, send us an email, offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. Again, offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. Guys, we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to Offbeat. I'm your host, retired police officer Steve Rutherford. Co-hosting today's show, Detective Curtis Hadley.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Curtis with the Fort Worth Police Department. And our two guests today, we've got Detective David Jwanowski
Hello there.
and Officer Matt Putnam, both from Fort Worth.
How's it going?
Man, all right. You guys are telling me a couple of different things on break here, and I want you guys to share these with the listeners. I mean, Matt, you talked about a snake story.
Yeah, so I'm not a big snake person. Like snakes are one of my big fears. They terrify me. As a matter of fact, I see a snake on one side of the road, I'm crossing it and going to the other side.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you, man. It moves and it does not have legs.
No,
That's wrong.
you don't trust them. I don't care how big they are. No. So, anyways, I'm in training, and my FTO at the time, we took a snake call that came in, and when we show up to this person's house, there's about a 6-foot snake out on the porch. And again, I'm terrified of snakes. This is my one big fear. And my FTO was pretty cool. He was like, you know what? I'm not afraid of snakes. I'll go grab it and put it in a bag. So he walks over there and he picks up this big old 6-foot rat snake. It puts it in a bag and throws it in the back of our Crown Vic. He says, we're going to go down the road to a field and let it out. We go down the road to the field, open the back door, and there's no snake in the bag anymore.
Nope.
Ooh.
Nope. Nope.
So it's now disappeared into a Crown Vic. And if you guys have ever ridden in Crown Vics, the seat just lifts right up. Nowhere to be found. So it took a little convincing to get me back in the car.
At gunpoint.
So after about 5 minutes, I was convinced to get back in the car, and we drove back to our sector parking lot where we abandoned the Crown Vic and got into a new one. And punched 10-8 and started answering calls again.
And never located the snake in the other car that you just parked and left for somebody else.
Correct. Never heard of anyone getting bit. Never heard of any foul smells. So I'm guessing the snake finally got away. But
now we know who left the snake in the car.
Allegedly.
look, it was non-poisonous. It was a rat snake. I'm not going to
The
find it.
statute of limitations is up on it. You're fine. I'm just saying. We figured it out.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not crawling up underneath a Crown Vic looking for a snake.
Oh, no.
No. Hard pass.
I'm not crawling anywhere looking for a snake.
I did warn my FTO. I said, if that thing starts coming out of an air vent at my face, I can't guarantee there won't be a bullet hole in this car.
A few bullet holes.
Wow.
Well, you're also a bit of a prankster, too, right? I know you two are, but
I've been known to do a prank or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And y'all are acting the long game prankers, but I know you've got something to say about that.
Oh, what would you like to lead off with?
I mean, the one we got.
This isn't our show,
The one
right?
we got with the camera.
Yeah, do we have enough time to get?
I think we can
these in?
dive. We could touch the top of it. I
The one
guess.
we got our old partner with the camera was probably one of the top ones we did.
So we had a guy on our criminal tracking unit team that we were both on. He's always real uptight and good guy, great officer. I'm
Love him to tears.
Not talking bad about him at all, but really uptight, just always a thinker. You got to get him to loosen up.
Yeah.
So he just had a baby, right? Because
He was about to.
Yeah, his wife was about to have a baby, and he had been out for a few days. And in our office, we have some ceiling tiles, and one of them was pushed back, and it was right above his desk. And we took it upon ourselves to play a little prank, and we bought a $12 camera off of Amazon with a blinking light, and we put internal affairs on the side. And we placed this camera up in the ceiling tile right above his desk, angled down, looking right at him. And he came in, and it took him about a week to notice.
It was about a week.
And what was the first thing he did?
I mean, he noticed it, snapped a picture of it, put it on our little team thread. It's like, anybody else see this? And
Of course, y'all are playing stupid.
oh, absolutely,
100%.
I'm very good at that part. But
You're not playing.
So he tells the whole team, and our sergeant corporal at the time were in on it too, because we didn't. They watched us put it up. So I was like, all right, cool. So our sergeant's like, hey, you know what? I was in the office the other day. I saw him putting it up. It's not a big deal. Just go about y'all's regular business. Don't worry about it. Okay. No one here is the problem. So why is it off my desk?
And why is it looking right at me?
That's a good question, Thompson. What have you been doing?
That's something you want to share with us? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we actually interrogate him a little, like, are you doing something on your computer that you shouldn't be? Or because my desk is next to yours. I don't want to get caught up on what you're doing.
Well,
Don't drag the whole team down.
yeah, when Putty had the bright idea of moving it, we took it down, and he immediately noticed. He immediately noticed that thing was gone. Snapped another picture. It's gone on the team thread.
This is a few days after he had noticed.
Yeah.
So the reason for moving it is if I put up a camera and trying to be secretive and he notices it's there, it's no longer a secret. So they got to move it to make it a secret again. So I put it up in an air vent just a few tiles over from where he found the first one. Well, he finds it about a day later. Except this time he takes out his baton and now he goes to every tile in our office and starts lifting up the tiles looking for more cameras. And it was about another day passes and our vice unit comes in for a briefing, and every officer that walks through the door, he's like a door greeter. He's like, "There's a camera in our office looking."
I
at us.
remember
There's a
that.
camera in
I
our
do-
office looking.
Yeah,
at us.
do remember.
You were still on Vice when
I
that
was in
going
Vice and I
on.
walked in. He's like, "There's a camera over here. Don't look at it."
And the vice lieutenant at the time is he knew me, and he knows that I'm kind of a jokester. And so when he got told there was a camera, he immediately walked over to me and he said, "Did you put a camera up?" I said, "Yeah."
I can't confirm or deny.
So everybody's now in on it. And what happened when he found it?
Well, we knew he was about to leave on baby leave, so we didn't want to leave that rent free in his head that long. So once that briefing is all done, said and done, like, hey, he walked off to do something in the other part of the office, so we put the empty box of what the camera was in on his desk and just waited for it to organically be found. So he finally comes back and sits at his desk and notices it. Immediately looks over at Putty and I, and we're like,
Oh, he threw the box
oh
at
yeah.
us.
He's like, but he started laughing immediately and just winged the box at us. Like, I'm so glad y'all freaking showed me that, because I was about to just lose it. And it was just one of those that he took it in good stride. And it was one of those like, we love you, Thompson. That's why we do this to you.
That poor guy was racking his brain probably. Like, what did I do?
Hey, he told us he was losing sleep. He's like, I went home and I talked to my wife about it. Like Internal Affairs is watching me. Like, he said, I was losing sleep over it at night.
Oh, how long did this go on?
Oh, it was
A
about
total
2 or 3 weeks at least.
2 or 3 weeks total.
Yeah.
Wow, y'all are committed.
We tried to be.
I like that.
You got to
Yeah.
keep everyone on their toes.
Yeah. Oh, he was on his toes.
Y'all giving him nightmares and causing problems with his wife, and
Poor guy got an ulcer.
Well, he already had
Didn't
3,
even deserve it.
He already had 3. So
Now, all right, David, you said that you actually have a family that works for the same agency,
yep.
and you told me about a prank that you pulled on one of your family members.
Yeah, it was my dear brother. This was years ago. I was still in patrol, and I was training a rookie. He was a detective in the Crimes Against Children unit. And, we got some hornet's nest of a call where we had 4 victims and 6 suspects where we ended up catching. And we have to now call in all the detectives from CACU to try to interview folks, go to the hospital, try to figure out all these things going on there. So they had to call in multiple detectives to try to help out. And Dan was on that list, but he didn't pick up. So he just, all right, whatever. So we're down in the CACU office, and I'm like telling the rookie I was training, I was like, hey man, look, just start working on this. I'll take care of the other paperwork from the other calls we had today. Just work solely on this. So I'm looking for a spot to sit, and my brother's desk was right there. Oh, you know what? Jwanowski's going to be sitting here today, so whatever, since the other one's not going to be here. So I finish up with the paperwork, and I'm sitting there kind of like, well, I don't know what to do with myself now. And I look over, and I see some sticky notes, full pack of sticky notes right there. I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing now. So I grab that, start drawing dicks on him, and start hiding them all over his desk. I hit him under his mouse so he can't use it until he turns it over. I hit it on all through his stuff, paperwork, some paperwork, not the important stuff.
Not the essential stuff.
Not the essentials, but notepads, and inside his little desk decor and a bag of peanuts that he had in his desk. And then I just left it. Just let him find it. Just let him find. I think I went through probably at least half of that sticky note deck. And all right, cool. Let's see how this goes. And he called me the next day, going, "Were you at my desk?" So,
That's his first thought too.
I mean,
Dave wants to have been here.
yeah.
Do you blame him?
I mean, why would I be at your desk? That's weird. It's like, I know you were at my desk. What makes you say that? I don't know. The 37 dicks I found so far? Like, so far. So, next couple days goes by and he calls me back again and I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" It's like, "All right, you got me good. You got me real good." Like, okay, I know I did, but how? So he's like, "All right, the one that I didn't find, I finally found a good one." I was like, "Okay, well, what was it?" "There's one on the bottom of my mug." "Oh yeah, I forgot about that one."
The coffee cup.
Yeah, on his coffee cup. So he's telling me that he was set up for an interview with a guy. He'd come in. He was talking to him, getting all the information, but he was drinking his coffee while I was doing it. So he's sitting there, drinking his coffee, talking to him. "All right, man. So your story's not really matching up. So I'm going to get a refill of this coffee. And when I come back, you better think about what you really want to tell me." So he paused for dramatic effect, one last drink, walks off to go, shuts the door, and he goes to wash his coffee. I'm like, "I have to get some more." And he finally looks at the bottom, and he's got a dick just taped to the bottom.
Staring the suspect
just staring the suspect down every time he takes a drink. And it's like, I don't know if this dude saw it, but he had to. I drank at least three times in front of him. So he's like, that's probably one of the best ones you got me with.
That's like a whole different good cop, bad cop thing. I don't know what do you call that one.
Yeah, one and the same.
Oh man,
But that prank went on for a while because the long game definitely came in, because a couple years after that, he still found, I think, the last one about 2 years ago.
so we think.
So we think, because I put that in his notepad, for his vest notepad, like deep in the stack. So it took him a while to get to that back of that notepad, but he finally, I think, found the last one. He texted me. He was like, "I think I did it. I think I finally found the last one."
It's
like,
the gift that keeps on giving.
Dick Search 2017 can conclude.
We might have to do it like at his retirement party, like put a couple around.
We might.
It's like, "Oh, you just now found that
Oh,
one?"
you found that one? Man, that one's been in your
keep it
wallet.
going, man.
That one's been in your wallet. I didn't know you left that one there.
That's a great idea, Chris.
Yeah, I just thought about that. It's like the end game. It's like at his funeral.
Yeah, it might be.
I went dark.
It kind of goes that way.
It's good Jwanowski fun, I promise you.
Oh yeah. Well, he took it all good fun, but I'm waiting for that revenge. He's always a long game in it too, so it's one of those that I'm sure mine's coming back around at some point.
Oh yeah.
It still makes you just wonder, what's that suspect thinking? You're interviewing him and you had his coffee cup and you had a dick pic on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was hand drawn. I even used purple for the vein.
It was made with love.
Did you say you used colors?
Yeah, I used purple for the vein.
Hey, if you're gonna go in, you go all the way.
Go big or go home.
How much time did you have?
A lot.
Go big or go home.
Listen, there was.
Yeah,
a lot
we were
to
there
go on.
most
We
of the
were
night.
there. Yeah, I think you.
I was with you on
Yeah,
that
because
one.
or at least you came to give us food, because that was an early call that lasted, I think, 15 hours. That was a
I was always
in-depth call.
I was always so enamored because they had a cool little boat. It was the cactus place. They had a cool little boat right there in the lobby. And I mean, I think I played with more than the kids did. You know, it's like, "Oh look, this turns and this makes sounds."
They said, "Oh, that's the special one."
Yeah. So after that, they're like, "Don't let Hadley back on the boat, please." Because
We actually had the CTW there, so
Matt, I understand you're a responsible partner.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, well,
Very responsible.
Why don't you enlighten us on that? I mean, we know you're committed to your partners and that you like to make sure everybody's okay and taken care of. So,
Oh yeah, you got to watch out for people. So back to my old partner. I'll keep him nameless. But after he learned his lesson from not bringing his ex-girlfriend around current girlfriends, he
same guy. This is the same guy.
Same guy. Yeah.
did he
Same guy.
learn though?
he's a bit dense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks go by and we go eat at Taco Casa. Real nice place, real quick, real fast. And it was fast moving for him, I'll tell you that, because we were parked up next to each other about 15 minutes after, and he said, "I got to go to the sector." One can gather that his stomach was hurting, and he left fairly quickly. And headed towards the sector. Well, I ended up taking a call, and he didn't show up, and he normally shows up on all my calls with me. So I pull him up on the map, and he's at home. And I'm curious why he's at home. So I call him, and he said, man, I didn't make it to the sector.
What does that mean?
Means Code Brown.
It means Code Brown.
Code Brown.
He said, I trusted the fart, and I shouldn't have.
Never trust a fart.
And I
Words never been
I
said.
said, how bad was it? He said, man, I couldn't get out of my car for a minute. It was that bad. So he's at home now, and he's obviously puts on new pants. And about another hour goes by, and he's still not back. So I call him again. What are you doing? Man, I'm cleaning the patrol car, man. I cleaned the whole front seat.
Oh, damn.
So
no.
being the responsible partner that I am,
Yes.
I felt it necessary to make sure that the entire West Division knew that we were one officer down for the foreseeable future. So I sent out a district message about why we were one officer down and explained to them that he just didn't make it to the bathroom on time.
Now, when you say district-wide message, how many people is this going to?
60, 40, 60.
40 to 60.
We've all got one of those messages. You're in the car. You're like just scrolling through them real quick.
But
and you're like,
it was necessary because.
but did you do red?
We were.
Oh, it was high priority
I did.
for
It
sure.
was high priority. But it was necessary because we were one officer down on our shift. And
making
so
sure
I just
everybody
making
knows
sure
he's
everybody
okay.
knew that's why
Absolutely.
he's not coming to help us out right now.
Yes.
And that could be a safety issue.
It is.
It
100%.
is.
Biohazard.
Yeah.
Biohazard, too. Yeah,
He was saving the city some money by taking care of himself. So I still applaud him for that. It's like, you know what? Saving some money. Gotcha.
You know, I would expect the same from any of you guys.
I know. Well, what, cleaning or?
Oh, the message.
Oh, the message.
Oh, the
Absolutely.
message.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Yeah. Curtis, you ever run across an animal at work?
Oh, yeah, I have a few times. I have a lot of really good times with Dave over there. We were partners for a couple of years, but
He's at least 5.
and throughout those years, most of the time, if we didn't ride together, it's because we were training somebody, and he did a lot of training. So this one particular day, he come to me in roll call and he goes, "Hey man, I got this rookie that just he can't find his voice. You know, he tries to clear a building, he's whispering. He says, do you mind if we go over to this little subdivision where they're building houses, and we're gonna make this kid clear buildings until he is either good at it or we're sick of it. One of the two. We're just gonna keep going." So I ended up getting an officer that had a rookie. So we all go over there, and it's like I said, it's a subdivision. There's probably 15 houses that are started, and we're up there, and we're like, "Hey man, say it loud and proud. You know, 3 houses down needs to hear you say, you know, I'm coming in, police, whatever your announcement is." And so we worked for about, I'd say 30, 45 minutes. And finally I look over at Dave. I'm like, "Hey man, I'm sitting this one out. I'm gonna go sit in the car." So he goes over to the next building. He goes in, they open the door, they go in, and about, I'd say 8 to 10 seconds goes by, and I'm out there. I think I'm talking to the other guy, and all of a sudden Dave just opens the door. And he's like, we got him! Hurry! So I'm like, my adrenaline shoots up. I'm like,
Oh, crap.
how in the heck did we actually find one? You know, so I come out, I break a GO because I'm running with my gun in my hand. I'm like, it's
go time.
Yes, I'm not even picking up on the subtle cues that Dave is not quite as excited as I am. He's kind of let me take lead on this, which I'm a pretty badass officer. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, he's letting me take lead on this. So I'm like, where's he at? He's like, in that room, in the closet. I'm like, oh crap, where we go? So I get up there and I got my gun. I'm like, forward, please. If you're in there, you need to come out. I grab that door and I'm like, as soon as I pull my gun, it was a raccoon. And I look over at Dave and I'm like, really? He goes, hey, he was wearing a mask. And I'm like, you got me on that one. I mean, I was ready. I mean, a raccoon almost died that day, but I'm saying, I mean, it was a little baby raccoon just up in the very top of the closet. And a raccoon was probably more scared than I am. He's looking at me like, what did I do?
I don't want to be here anymore.
But like I said, the P resistance on the whole thing was when I looked at Dave, I was like, you son of a mother pearl. And he's like, he was wearing a mask. I'm
Bro,
like,
he was.
he got me. So I ended up finding the raccoon. We left him there though.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't
Yeah,
want to
you know
evict
what?
him.
He didn't.
Yeah, it was
We'd have to evict him. It's
it was a
civil at
civil
this
eviction
point.
at that point, so we didn't want to bother him.
Yeah, no, that's constables right there. You got to bring him
Absolutely.
in, serve him up and stuff. He'd already established residency.
Mhm, yeah.
Pretty much.
Already had some of his stuff in there. So, yeah.
Yep.
No,
Yep,
he's a
toothbrush.
resident at that point.
All you need is a toothbrush.
At the very least.
Well, you know, it seems like, was that on night shift?
No, that was the middle of the day.
That was
yeah, we had
evenings.
just
That was
left.
still daylight.
It was still like 3:00 in the afternoon. We did that. So
So what you're saying is this raccoon had rabies.
He may
have.
He was dark in that closet, at least for a little bit.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if it's dark, he was hanging out.
the weirdest part was no one was working on the houses. When
I
you
think,
walk,
I think it was a weekend. So
was
no
it
one
was
it
it
had
a
to have been.
weekend?
It had
I'm
to have
saying we're
been.
pulling overtime here. Those houses need to get finished up.
Listen.
and we found a whole subdivision. Not one single hammer was being swung.
Well, you left him in there so the workers could find him. when they got
Absolutely,
there.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. How do I know he didn't belong to one of the workers?
Exactly.
Well, again,
It
you
was
didn't
no
have
good.
the authority to remove him
No, I did
from
not. No.
his own
Mm-mm.
residence.
We left him.
Yes.
So
Well, many years ago on night shift, our gas pumps for our station are right in the back of the station. We got our own pumps. Pull up, you fill up your car. There's a dumpster there, and that's where you normally clean out your squad car. And you just take whatever trash you got from the shift, you go throw in the dumpster. I was out there gassing up one night and was walking over to the dumpster to throw some stuff in there and threw open the top of the dumpster, and a raccoon just popped up and stuck his head and looked at me, and
trash pandas.
I was almost one less raccoon
hello
because
there.
I jumped back so far whenever I saw him. Yeah, almost unholstered on him, but caught myself.
I've caught a couple possums in trash bins as well. So, but to each their own. If they don't bother me, I don't bother them.
Yeah.
So, Matt,
Yes, sir.
you said something about stakeouts and equipment necessary for those to help get you by. What you got?
So the team I'm on, we do a lot of surveillance, and it's not uncommon that we spend 4, 6, 8, 10 hours in the car. That being said, some of the locations we set up on, once you're parked, you're stuck. You got to stay there because you're going to get noticed if any type of movement or anything like that. So, a lot of officers keep water bottles handy. One, to stay hydrated, but I'm not saying we do or don't. But if you can't move, you might have to go to the back of the car and
Nature calls.
nature calls. And obviously it only works for number one. So
Have you
With
tried?
that attitude.
Wow.
Challenge accepted.
anyways, it's not uncommon. We spend 10 hours in the car, and a lot of these are for major crimes and stuff like that. So it's necessary. But so we have a new female on our team, and the car she got, she actually found what appeared to be a unused bottle with a funnel attached to it. So this was left there by whoever had the car before her, and like I said, apparently it looked unused. But she decided to pull a prank, being the new person on the team, by bringing this funnel into the office and putting water with yellow dye in it.
In the bottle.
In the bottle.
And this is the newbie to the team.
This is the newbie to the team.
Wow, that's pretty gutsy.
That's pretty ballsy.
And I'm sitting across because our desks are on the opposite side, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is going to be bad. And she goes about two desks over, and puts it behind the monitor behind one of the officers, another officer on our team, and sits and waits. And it took about 2 or 3 days, and he finally notices. He walks in, and the reason he notices because she had taken a can of tuna and poured the juice in there just to make it have a small foul smell.
If you're going in, you're going in.
Now, first off, let me say that I'm really impressed. I love a good prank. I'm really impressed by this. And so he comes in, he notices it. He stands up, starts throwing a fit, yelling at everybody, pointing at us all. I mean, he's a good guy. He takes jokes good. So he leaves, but when he comes back 5 minutes later, he's got like a mask over his face. He's got the crime scene latex gloves on. He's got a whole roll of paper towels, and he takes this and throws it in the trash and goes back to his desk. So I offer him a treaty. I said, hey, we can join up and we can get her back. You know what he says? He says, unprovoked, she did that to me. I am not messing with her because I am now scared of her.
That's a smart man.
Okay, so she played it right as the rookie coming into the team or whatever. Just
It's
go ahead and pull off a great one right off. Go ahead and establish dominance there.
It's like prison yard stuff there, man.
she came in-
You find the biggest one, take him down. It's like, oh yeah, silverback. We're going silverback on these guys. Well, as a female, also she has to assert herself a little bit more because it's a male-dominated office where y'all are at. So kudos to her.
Yeah, 100%. Nothing but respect.
Let's just start running our pranks by her first and see if she approves of them.
Well, she learned from the best, both Putty and I. 'Cause
She was on the
She
team.
was on our
Okay.
team, so it's almost like the students become the masters. So it's like, all right, I'll tip your hat on that. It's a good one.
Good job, Grasshopper.
It was unprovoked. She planned the whole thing herself. So
Awesome.
kudos.
And welcome back to more Offbeat. I'm your host, retired police officer Steve Rutherford. Co-host today, Fort Worth detective Curtis Hadley.
Thanks for having me.
And our two in-studio guests today, we've got Detective David Jwanowski
Ahoy.
and Officer Matt Putnam, both from Fort Worth as well.
We're not on a boat.
Not yet.
I kind of feel like Fort Worth Police Department invaded the studio today.
Well, I mean, it was an upgrade. Not gonna lie.
Wow. Wow. Oh, okay.
Not a big in Farmers Branch, Steve.
Listen, the truth hurts. I get it.
It does. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know where Farmers Branch is at. I apologize. So,
Neither does a lot of the.
but I hear it's nice.
You know, there's no boundaries. It's just Dallas, Farmers Branch, Carrollton.
Oh, so it's just like a suburb. Then.
Yeah, it all runs together. But I would say this: we've got three from Fort Worth in studio today. Dallas, where are you at?
Good story. Good question.
Yeah,
So we have a cricket.
crickets. Yeah, I mean, Dallas? Where are you guys at?
Well, I mean, as a police officer, you don't tell other guys that you have friends in Dallas.
Yeah, no.
I would rather say Farmers Branch.
Yeah.
So
Except for that one teammate we had.
Oh, we're gonna stay away
that's
from
a
that.
different show, boys.
Okay. Wow, we found something that does cross the line. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, Curtis, during the break, you told us about an arrest you made.
Yeah, so I've only been on not quite 14 years. I cut my teeth on West Side when I was in my FTO phase. I was a PO phase, being FTO. So when you're in the PO phase, of course, your FTO being a good one is going to try to tell all of his buddies, hey, if you get a call that's kind of cluster or really good learning call, give me a call and we'll take it. So, and I'm not sure if that's exactly what happened, but I got called to target on what we call a 33 is just a prisoner pickup. Normally you go in there, you change out the cuffs, get their information, get a little affidavit, out the door, you're done. So I get there, and we're talking like I would probably say it's the perfect storm. I walk in to the LP office, and she was a little person with mobility issues. So she had a motorized cart, and she also had a very large, I want to say it was a husky or Siberian husky, big old dog, which was her service dog as well. And my FTO looks at me and is like, all right, handle it. I'm like, so of course I'm trying to get her. I was like, hey, you are going to jail. You were caught stealing $300 some odd, whatever it was. And so she's like, of course she's crying. And I was like, do you have somebody come get the dog? And she's like, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've also got a car full of groceries. I just stopped off at Walmart and I've got milk and stuff. And she's only even been there for a few minutes. I'm like, mother. Okay, so I end up talking to her for a few minutes, and she says, hey, I can call my ex-husband. He'll come get the groceries and the dog. I said, okay, so I call the ex-husband. I talk to him, tell him the situation. He shows up, and he's like, I was like, all right, here's the keys to the car. Here's the dog. And he's like, I'll take the groceries. Screw the dog. I don't like the dog. Dog never like me. This is why we're not together anymore. That's her dog. So I was like, okay. So I go back in. I tell her, I say, hey, you got anything else I can call for the dog? I said, if not, it's going to the pound. And she's like, of course, she starts crying again. She's like, no, please, that's my baby. And, he's all I've got in this world. And I'm like, she's pulling on my heartstrings a little bit. I was like, where do you live? She's like, my apartment's 3 miles up the road. I was going to drive by it anyway to take her to jail. So I go back and tell my FTO what I'm going to do. And he's like, if you want to do it. So I did. Drive over there. It was very simple. Open the door, let the dog out. The dog knew exactly where it was going. Open the door. He went inside. We're good. So when I get back, I had not cuffed her up because I didn't want the dog getting a little rough with me or, thinking I was, going to hurt her. So I say, now I've got to put cuffs on you. Let me have your phone. I put it on top of the car. Biggest rookie move you can do is put a phone, put anything on top of a car of their property because it's not in your brain. You're just trying to get out of the way.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Absolutely. So as we take off, and I do remember this, I hear the shkaboom, and my FDO was like, hey, what was that? I'm like, I don't know. Good. Maybe a speed bump. I don't know. We're driving, and I get to the jail, I get her out, and she's like, do you still have my phone? And I was like, Oh, the phone I put on top of the car.
Yeah, that phone.
Oh, yes. And so I was like, I call a buddy. He goes out and looks. All he found was the case. And so I told her, ma'am, I'm sorry your phone's gone. It's, I want to say it was iPhone 3, 4, 5 or whatever. It was still pretty new. Everything's done. I get the arrest done. I come in the next day, and my sergeant walks into roll call, and I'm sitting there just kind of minding my own business. He's like, Hadley. I was like, what did I fuck up now? He's like, only you. I'm like, only what? He goes, what'd you do last night? So I tell him the scenario, and he goes, I've been on the phone with this woman for 45 minutes today. And I'm like, I can only imagine what she's saying about me.
How'd she call?
Yeah, believe me. I mean, she got it pretty quick. And so it was kind of, for me, it was more of a heartfelt thing. She had literally called my sergeant. She started, lower level and finally got to my sergeant throughout the day just to plead with him to not fire me for losing her phone. And he's like, only you could take a person to jail, and do everything you did and actually put her in cuffs and then take her to the jail and drop her off. And then she's more worried about you getting fired from your job. So, I mean, it made me kind of feel a little bit, but I mean, of course, everybody razzed me about it, but it was just one of those stories that it always stuck with me because, I mean, a little bit of kindness can go a long way. And they didn't fire me, so it must have helped. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and really, that's a double ninja move. You lose her property, and then she calls, want to commend you
yeah.
for arresting her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, I'm not sure if I could ever do it again. I'm a little bit more, jaded at this point. So
That's like a Jedi mind trick.
yeah,
kinda.
these are not the phones you're looking for.
Okay, I do want to remind our listeners, hey, if you haven't checked out the website, go to Offbeat, offbeatcopshow.com. Again, that's offbeatcopshow.com. Go ahead and subscribe to their email list. And if you are an officer and you have a funny story to share on the show, hit us up, offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. Again, that's offbeatcopshow@gmail.com. We discussed a few minutes ago. I haven't seen any Dallas Police Department up in here yet. So, Dallas, if any of you guys have a funny story, hit us up. All right. Matt.
Yes.
On break, you shared a story.
Pretty
And,
epic.
Let's release this one to the wild here. Let it fly.
So I talked earlier about keeping people on their toes, and just something I like to do. Dave likes to do. Curtis.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I say you got to keep everyone on their toes, I mean everyone, not just officers, but
Command
corporals,
staff.
sergeants. You got to keep them all. You got to keep them all on their toes. Fortunately for me, I have had very good supervisors over the years, and we've always gotten along. But there was this one day that I was sitting there. Shift was over, trying to catch up. I had a ton of reports to do that day. About 15 minutes had gone by, and my sergeant walks in, and he peeks into the report writing room. I'm in there typing away, and he's like, "Hurry up! You ain't getting overtime for this." Turns around, starts walking off. As he walks off, I said, "Whatever, keep walking, bitch."
Under your breath?
No, I mean, I said it loud, but not like I didn't think it was loud enough that he heard it. Well, he did hear it because he immediately reappeared right back in the doorway. And again, he's a good supervisor. We get along very well, and he's a very tall, large, bald, angry man sometimes.
He is a mountain of a man.
Yes, he is.
And so I'm 6'1", 225. He's probably about 6'4",
225.
250, just like, and he's not fat.
Lean.
So anyway, so he reappears. He said, "What was that?" And me, I can't back down at this point. I mean, I said what I said. He heard it. There's no backing down. So I said, "Keep walking, bitch."
Yeah, but the second time it sounded like a question, didn't it?
Yeah, it was more,
walking, bitch.
Not as much conviction.
It was more, "I'm Ron Burgundy." So he said, "All right, you want to go?" I said, "All right. I mean, if you're brave enough, let's go."
Can't back down.
Yeah, you can't back down. Once you started, you're committed. So he takes his gun belt off. I take my gun belt off, and we assume the fighting positions here. And we lock into each other, and I'm trying to leg sweep him and throw him on the ground. Next thing I see is this hand go way up in the air, like the Spirit Fingers. What movie was that on?
Oh, Jazz Hands.
Jazz
Jazz
Hands. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that, and boom, right in between my legs.
Oh,
Got the old twig and giggleberries.
Right between the legs.
Took the fight right out of your sails.
Oh, it took
didn't
the fight out. I hit the ground. My voice went to a feminine voice.
Falsetto. Yeah.
I'm tapping out, tap out, tap out. I'm done. You win. So he stands up and he's like, "So who's the bitch now?" And this is just me. I just say, "You cheated. That's not fair." His response is, "There's no cheating in the fight." I tend to disagree with that.
I mean,
I
wise
think you
words.
fell for it. I think that was 100% premeditated.
You know, he
you don't
did-
pull jazz hands out and fight unless you're going to use them.
He was very confident whenever we were,
Absolutely.
agreeing to these terms.
He knew he had you at that point. That's like the icing on the cake. Like, you're going down.
And you know what? I think I could have won.
I want a fair fight. You're fighting fair. You ain't fighting right.
And now that I've said that, if he hears that, he's going to come after me again. Oh, you think you could have won?
Oh, I'm gonna send him a link.
Well, Matt,
That's episode 6.
good luck at work this week, Matt.
He's gonna be like,
Be dodging them left and right.
like, "Did you hear that? I thought I heard somebody behind me."
Or you're gonna feel his presence. I'll tell you that.
Keeping my office door locked.
Well, guys, that's what we got for today's show. Thanks for listening in. Remember, you guys stay safe out there. Watch each other 6.